It's now 6:30. I'd like to call this September 22nd meeting of the City of Monessen City Council to order. Could I have a roll call, please? And I need to make a couple of statements here real quick. First off, Mike Corpage is in the hospital. He earlier this week, he was taken from this building in an ambulance. His pulse rate was extremely low. They've since got it under control, and he seems to be doing much better. But he'll either get out tonight or tomorrow. So we're going to indulge upon our solicitor to act as city administrator for purposes of roll call. And also, one other statement, we did not have an executive session earlier today. We did not have that. So contrary to what the agenda says, that did not occur. So with that said, can you call the roll, please?
Sure can. Mr. Greger.
Present.
Mr. Nestor.
Here.
Mr. Ordzikowski.
Here.
Ms. Thomas.
Here.
Mayor Moser.
Here. At this time, I'd like to ask Reverend John Custer to lead us in a prayer.
There we go. Let's pray together. Lord, we're grateful you've gathered us like this tonight. We just ask you for your blessing. Thank you for this room full of good people here and the leaders you placed in this city to guide it and lead it. I pray for your wisdom to be given to us. You know much more about all of this life that's here than we do. And I pray that you would give us, all the citizens and all the leaders here tonight, start to give us pictures of things to come, the great and wonderful plans you have. I pray for dreams and visions to happen in the hearts of all the individuals interested in this city. And so we thank you tonight for the great things that you've done so far, and ask for blessing, tranquility, prosperity, to be the fruit of the labors of all these good people. I ask this because of your great love, your unending outpouring of love for the people of Monessen and the city of Monessen. Amen.
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 Pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, if council could review the minutes from the previous session, and somebody making a motion to accept those minutes.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of minutes of our previous council meeting dated August 25th, 2022.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Please call the roll.
Councilman Greger.
Aye.
Councilman Nestor.
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas?
Yes.
And I get a vote too.
Mayor Moser?
Yes. At this time, I'd like to open the floor for public comment on agenda items only.
Ernest Telegraphist, 29 Rex Boulevard. You just approved of, what, the minutes? And it says here on page 1, old business not available. Is that the same thing?
No,
Okay,
No.
they're two different things.
yes.
Okay, can you explain what you mean by old business?
Old business that was not completed at the last council meeting.
Okay, what wasn't completed?
Nothing. There's a reason why there's no old business.
Okay, and then we, just wanna jump here, I guess it's under, Councilman Nestor's part. It says motion to approve advertisement for structural engineering services as it relates to generation of condemnation letters for blighted property. Can you explain that, John?
I'll explain it a little bit. You sure? Yeah, that really has to do, and I'll get into that in some of my comments that I'm gonna be making, but
So you're gonna address that?
absolutely.
Okay. And then I have another concern. Like we're losing, like we're on a battlefield. We're losing critical people here. Mike Korpash is not here. Rosen still isn't coming. And you people didn't get anybody to help you with the burden with the bookkeeping. So what are we doing? Are we waiting for them to come from the dead or what?
Well, we're working on that, and I'll talk about that as well.
Well, you guys have to have backup. We can't just sit there until the same people gotta take position again. I mean, the city has to move forward.
Yes.
All right, those are my concerns.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to ask the solicitor, is there any other comments? I'd like to ask the solicitor for his report.
Thank you, Mayor. The zoning ordinance legal ed has been prepared for the public hearing that'll take place here October 13th at 5:30. That's just before the council meeting that evening. It'll be advertised in the Mon Valley Independent next week and then the following week. A copy also will be sent to the Law Library of Westmoreland County. It is available on the city's website. There will be copies here at City Hall. However, it is a pretty large document. It's about 453 pages. So I think the city would be appreciative if everybody could take a look at it online. And if you have any questions, I'm sure they can direct you to where it's at. Also, and I don't want to steal the mayor's thunder, but Mr. Telegraphist did ask about why the city needs engineering reports for demolitions. The reason I want to mention it here is that the code enforcement officer and myself will be meeting with the County Redevelopment Authority to go over the legal process of what's going to be required to demolish these homes. Part of that's going to have to be to get an engineering report from a structural engineer to certify that these properties are uninhabitable, they're beyond saving. And you guys have all been here before demolition hearings. We're going to have to do some of those as well. So we're meeting with the County Redevelopment Authority to accomplish that. And finally, for this evening, the tax forgiveness program, the agreement has been drafted. The tax forgiveness committee will be meeting next Monday. Is it at 5:30?
Yes,
It'll be at 5:30 this evening, or 5:30 Monday evening. And-
6 o'clock, I'm sorry.
Correction, 6 o'clock, and that's open to the public as well. That'll be their first organizational meeting. No applications have been received. They'll review everything and finalize it, and it'll be off and running. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you. This time, I'd like to ask our city treasurer for his report.
Mayor, I gave my report at the last meeting, therefore I have no report at this time.
Very good, thank you. Our city controller is still out. Best wishes to her. I have a proclamation that I would like to read. This is a proclamation for His Place, Coffee Community and More. Whereas His Place offers a top quality coffee, and whereas His Place has story time every second Thursday of the month at 10:30 for pre-K through fourth grade, and whereas His Place provides tutoring on Monday evenings for pre-K through 12th grade from 6 to 8 p.m. And whereas his place has a kids' craft day on the third Saturday of each month from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. And whereas his place hosts the Knitwits, a group of crochet and people who knit, Monday from 10 to noon. And whereas his place conducts a Celebrate Recovery every Thursday at 7 p.m. And whereas his place conducts a group of Next Chapter widows meeting the second Wednesday of each month at 10 a.m. And whereas his place hosts Sole Providers for single parents on the third Saturday from 10 to noon of every other month. And whereas his place has a Holy Fit, Lifting Mind, Body, and Health, a fitness devotional program that meets Monday night at 6:30 and on Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. And whereas his place coordinates special community events such as the Christmas and Easter festivities. And whereas his place conducts pop-up live music nights from time to time. And where his place is planning a sewing studio for homeschooled kids and the general public. And where his place is planning a virtual reality gym. And where his place offers prayer to anybody who desires. Now therefore, I, Ron Moser, Mayor of the City of Monessen, do hereby deem it an honor and pleasure to extend this certificate of recognition to his place on the first anniversary with sincere congratulations and best wishes for many, many more productive years. In witness thereof, I do hereby set my hand and cause the seal of my office to be affixed this 22nd day of September in the year 2022. And I see Lisa's here. I'd like to present this to her. At this time, I'd like to recognize John and Melanie Wheeler. They'd like to make a presentation of some ideas. They have a lot of experience and expertise that they're offering to the city of Monessen, and they want to talk about the use of the Civic Center. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to them.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, everybody. First, I want to introduce myself. My name is John Wheeler. This is my wife, Melody Wheeler.
Speak louder, please.
Yes. I want to take a moment to introduce myself. My name is John Wheeler. This is my wife, Melody Wheeler. We've been residents of Monessen for approximately a year now. And just to expound on what I know some of the ideas we may have may be a little aggressive, but what we're asking for is the support and direction of not just council, but also law enforcement. My background consists of early with being involved with programming for the Boys and Girls Club. I was then a program director for the YMCA systems. I was the operations director for the Ambassador for Christ Ministries. I also spent some time doing some personal mentoring through the Big Brother and Sisters program. That's pretty much my background. Before I explain or expound on what my ideas that we're having, what we would like support on, I'd like my wife to speak for a moment.
Good evening, everybody. First, I want to thank y'all for inviting us, allowing us to give you a background of what's going on and what our plight are. I worked in the human service field for over 38 years. I might just look 38, but I have 38 years experience in the human service field. My background consists of doing parenting classes for the courts. I worked alongside CYF. I did in-home services with families who had children under the age of 5. I also facilitated not only the parenting classes, healthy relationships, as well as worked with perpetrators. I also worked for Pittsburgh Job Corps, working with juvenile delinquents. So I have a lot of background in the human service field. And I'll turn it back over to my husband. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm from the inner city. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My experiences that I've had expressed to you all have all been in the Pittsburgh area. One of the things that I wanted to utilize the Civic Center for was to implement some programming. My grandson, who wasn't able to come here today because he's still working, he was the student advocate for Holy Families Ministries, and he has a lot of experience in programming. I do have some people who would be willing to under the circumstances of the finances of Monessen, would be willing to do some grant writing as well. I know this is something that is at the early stages, but I just thought this would be a good place to start. You know, just to see what support I could get and just whatever resources would be available. One of the things that I have found out through my experiences is that as each school year starts, there is a new transition of how our youth react to the community. The 13 and 14-year-olds have patterned their behavior after the 15 and 16-year-olds and so on and so on. So what we would like to do is to spearhead programming, not just for sports, because that's a very easy outlet. Come to the gym, use sports, and then they're gone. What we would like to do is implement certain programming with people who are experienced in other areas, such as physics, just as my wife has, some of the things that they think are normal behavior, smoking and drinking, and they see other people doing it. Just have programs structured around letting them know that there's other things out there. One of the things that has come to my attention, even just living here within the last year, is that I have noticed that there has been an influx of people from outside of Monessen that have begun to transition into and migrate into Monessen. And what I have found out that to be is the whole culture and environment changes when that happens. So there needs to be something in place in terms of prevention, and because I'm not saying gangs will automatically come in, but what happens is there's a clash that happens when that transition happens, and not everybody's culture happens to be the same, and these kids don't get along with one another when they come from different areas. So I guess that's where we will be asking some type of support from law enforcement, so that any programs that we do have that would include the mass of the community, there would be some type of police presence at any time. That prevents the aggressive behaviors of some people, and it kind of curtails things so that we can get our point across. So I know it's the early stages, and we have several ideas that we think that would be conducive to making, like they say, it's a cliche, common unity, the community be healthy, and implement programs that would promote just good, healthy thinking and spirituality and wholesomeness in terms of them not having anything to do to channel their energies, because that's where the trouble is going to begin. And I've seen a lack of, not to anybody's fault, a lack of programming, and there's a lot of idle time. So we would like to utilize the Civic Center there's several rooms down there that are vacant, not being utilized. There's certain, I think it's called the block program you all have here. The next time that you are sitting down to find out what funds are going to be allocated toward where, if the grants don't cover it, if we could receive some type of support there as well. So what we're asking at this point is any ideas of next steps in terms of implementing some of these programs is why we're asking it for and using this as a platform to approach that situation.
Very good. Actually, I would love to visit with you more.
Thank you.
One of the things we like to add on, like I said, I facilitated several parenting classes, and I noticed that there was a lot of single mothers, single fathers as well, and we like to implement some parenting classes as well as programs. I also facilitated programs for children as well, because not only am I doing the parenting component, I do the children's as well, because they're just as much as need as the parents. So those are some of the things that we were looking to put into place if possible. So,
Well, very good.
thank you.
I really do appreciate you coming to Monessen. I welcome you to the city. I think it's people like you that we look forward to working with. I'd look forward to discussing this more with you. I really think that there's a possibility here. So
Thank you.
thank you.
You all.
Definitely. I definitely agree. There are so many actually new groups that are starting in Monessen that have the same ideas and focus that you do. They have and the Young Impact Group. They have actually Sister Lisa's church, but also the Family Center. Have you heard of the Family Center on Reed Avenue? That's through SPHS, and they do programs for parents, single parents, and dads, and they do programs for kids. So it'd be a matter of actually just getting all those major groups together along with you. Because numbers is what people are looking for. You have this group may have 3, one may have 4, but if you put you all together, you got 20 people doing the same thing, going the same way. So, right. So these
Absolutely.
are your numbers, right? Yes. Okay, all right. Thank you. We'll be in touch for sure.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to keep this pretty quick. For several months, we've been looking for a deputy treasurer, and it's not easy. There's union issues, there's employment issues, there's all kinds of things that are at stake here. I think we're very close to reaching agreement with the union, though. I think that all said, I think we're coming together very quickly. There's just a few minor issues left to do, and I think that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, so maybe we can get that resolved soon. The Blythe removal project is also moving along. As I understand it, the bids closed yesterday on the Fifth Street Hotel. I don't know who the low bidder was, but I should know that within a day or so. By the end of the day tomorrow, I should know who the low bidder is and who they're awarding that contract to. That should start having somebody on site by the first week of October. So we're moving forward with the county. It's much bigger than the Fifth Street Hotel. The Fifth Street Hotel is just the first and one of the more visible steps that they're going to be doing. But realize that we have identified the area between 3rd Street, 6th Street, on both sides of the road, Donner and Alberts, as being the first target for phase 1 of the county's ARPA program to do demolition. This will be their first thing countywide. They've pretty much committed to Monessen to do that. It's not an easy process. There's 70 or 80 properties, I don't even know the exact count, that are under consideration for being demolished. They include the building across the street here. They include several buildings on Donner here. They include some buildings on 6th Street and all the way up. There's many buildings, downtown commercial buildings we're talking about, and many residences up there. Monessen has been doing residential demolition for a long time. Monessen knows how to do that. They know how to do the title searches. They know how to do the public hearings. They know how to do the notification of lien holders and all that is required in order to obtain legal right to demolish a piece of condemned property. But it requires several things. The most expensive of those things are title searches and the condemnation. The title searches the county's going to do. They have issued contract with several different legal people in order to do the title searches according to their specification, their format, their whatever, and they can provide those to us. But yet, it's still up to us in order to clear the property because, first off, the city has certain legal abilities to obtain permission to demo property that the county does not enjoy. If we want to sit and wait for the county to do the demolitions, then it's going to be 2028 before these all move through the judicial system and go that way. And by that time, all the property will belong to the county. Well, first off, this is Monessen. You really have to be in Monessen to understand Monessen, and I really firmly believe that. So one of the motions that will be made a little bit later on will be to obtain condemnation letters in bulk. Have a structural engineer go out to each one of these places, do an analysis of the building itself, determine if it is in fact structurally unsound and unsafe. He will issue a condemnation letter, and that is part of the puzzle that will eventually come to our solicitor for getting this property cleared for demolition. And that's the thinking and the process that's currently underway. It's our intention to keep things moving as quickly as we possibly can. Here a couple weeks ago, we had the old Valley Independent building on 6th Street over here, the back end of it collapsed. It fell into the basement. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous. In fact, we called the gas company and say, shut the gas off to this building. They said, oh, all we can do is shut the gas off to the block. Well, wait a second now. There's other businesses in business there. They say they are afraid to go in that alley with their equipment to get to the valves, to shut the valves off because the building's so dangerous. It's pathetic. We've got a church over there with no hot water, no heat. That is not acceptable by any stretch of the imagination. I have since requested the commissioners to accelerate this process, to move on it as quickly as possible. We'll see how that works out too. It's their commissioners' money, so I would think that if it's going to get accelerated, it's going to be through the commissioners. With that said, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Ordenchowski to talk about the Council and Finance section of things.
Thank you, Mayor. A motion to pay the following invoices from the general fund in the amount of $73,698.98. All invoices are attached to the agenda as attachment A.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Please call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas?
Yes.
Mayor Moser?
Yes.
Have a motion to pay the following invoices from the recreational account in the amount of $198.04. All invoices are attached to the agenda as attachment B.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Please call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas?
Yes.
Mayor Moser?
Yes.
Make a motion to pay the following invoices from the line usage fund in the amount of $16,167. All invoices are attached to this attachment as attachment C.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Please call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas?
Yes.
Mayor Moser?
Yes.
And I make a motion to pay the following invoices from the Parks Board Fund in the amount of $1,715.60. All invoices are attached to the agenda as attachment D.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Please call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas?
Yes.
Mayor Moser?
Yes.
Following balances of the accounts. Fire account, $18,410.99. Liquid fuels, $248.84. Grant fund is $54,868.31. Recreational board is $3,449.87. Refuge, which would be 2023 garbage collected, $1,185. ARP fund is $420,359.47. Parks is $41,887.57. Payroll is $8,051.70. Debt service is $677,638.37. Line usage has $589,107.62. General fund has $544,667.95. And healthcare has $3,518.60. And that's my report, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Councilwoman Lois Thomas.
Good evening, everyone. Our Streets Department report for August 2022. They empty garbage downtown twice a week, answered 35 PA1 calls, cold packed several streets throughout the city, cut city lots and alleys, painted the crosswalks throughout downtown, fixed 3 catch basins, cleaned out several other catch basins, ran a sweeper truck when possible. The arm tractor is down, waiting on a rim and tire. They answered complaints from city residents, called out for overtime for trees down and sewer issues, and helped the Parks Department when needed. As far as the library report, just wanted to report that they are right now in the process of having the Mon Valley Art Club exhibit at the library, and they will be holding a reception this Sunday, the 25th, from 1 to 4. Those are my reports.
Thank you. Councilman John Nestor.
Honorable Mayor, members of council, city administrative staff, and the citizens of Monessen. Here are the following reports for the Public Safety Department of August 2022. Police Department receipts for the month of August 2022. Parking permits, $200. Miscellaneous collections, $225 for copies of police accident reports, for a total of $225. Court receipts for Magistrate Justice Office or District Justice Office are the following. Vehicle code fines collected, $862.47. Crime code fines collected, $200.51. City ordinance collected, $10.33, for a total of $1,073.31. Total receipts collected for August 22 is a grand total of $1,498.31. The total citations filled out for the August 2022 were 110. Year to date is 780. Next will be the following report from the Mon Valley Emergency Medical Service. Emergency calls 140, fire standbys 10, police standbys 1, total incidents 151. Next two reports will be for July and August for the code activity report. For July 2022, habitation permits 13, correction letters 18, animal complaints 12, miscellaneous complaints 22, citations 6, inspections 1, building permits 4, office meetings with residents 6, zoning permits 2. Code activity report for August 2022. Habitation permits 11, correction letters 23, animal complaints 9, miscellaneous complaints 18, citations 10, inspections 11, building permits 2, office meetings with residents 7, zoning permits 3, and hearings 1. Magistrate receipts for the code enforcement is stated on August 10th, 2022. Vehicle code $646 and a penny. Crime code $411.90. City ordinance $18.69. Code enforcement $206.42 for a total of $1,283.02. And city ordinances for abandoned vehicles $18.69. Last but not least, the Monessen Fire Chief report for Station 81, August 2022. Automatic fire alarms 11, public service 1, structure fire 1, wires down 2, trees down 1, natural gas leaks 2, vehicle accidents 1, EMS assistance 2, electrical fire 1, stove fire 1, assistance with police 1, automatic fire alarms in Charleroy 1, gas leak Carroll Township 1, extraction of a patient from a home 1, total calls 27, total responding 526, average responding per call 19.48, total man hours 595. I thank them for their duties, both code, EMS, police, and fire. Next, motion to approve advertisements for structural engineering services as it relates to the generation of condemnation letters for blight properties.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Ordzikowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas?
Yes.
Mayor Moser?
Yes,
Thank you, Mayor. I yield the floor.
thank you. Councilman Gregor, would you give us your report?
Parks Department for August 2022. I have a motion to issue a request for proposal on securing the Herman Mahalich Boat Launch Park.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions?
One, were there any estimates received? The reason I'm asking is you might want to amend the motion to include requesting for bids in case it's over the threshold.
We're doing a request for proposals.
Yeah. Oh, we're just trying to find out how much it's
Trying to
gonna
figure,
fire
okay.
out.
Okay. Well, what I'm getting at, you could accomplish both in case they come back over the bid threshold, and you can just advertise for bids if you need to. If you want to put and/or request for bids in the motion.
Thank you. Motion to issue request for proposal on securing the Herman Mahalich Boat Launch Park and/or bids for the proposal. That's
Do we need to do a second again?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any other questions? Call the roll.
Councilwoman Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Mayor Moser?
Yes.
Okay, Parks Department for August 2022. They cut city parks and fields, got pavilions ready for events, planted grass at Anthony Madison Park, helped the street departments as needed, had overtime to clean up after events on the weekends, and set up for the next event. I do have another issue that I've been getting phone calls on. It has to do with what's been going on at the property up across from the aluminum source. Apparently, aluminum source has purchased that property.
Right?
Okay. It was brought to my attention that they didn't have a PA1 call when they started excavating up there. There actually was some damage to one of the sewer manholes. The lid was forced off. They did finally get one, but it was issued for September 19th, and they'd already started excavating up there. I'm not sure what's going on up there, but do they have permits for whatever they're doing up there?
Well, first off, I did ask Marvin to go up there and see what's going on. I don't know that you have to have a permit to move dirt on your own property.
It depends
There
whether
is-
they're excavating.
Well, exactly.
Well, they could be landscaping or grading. or
depends
whatever.
on
They could be doing lots of things.
The area as well.
They were notified that they would have to have the planning commission evaluate any changes in the zoning that they're thinking. It is zoned as residential.
Yeah, I've actually had some,
Conservancy.
Conservancy, okay, never mind. So there's very little that they can do with that, to be honest.
yeah, I've actually had calls. I had some individual who didn't want to identify himself, said that they were going to be using that site to store aluminum fluff,
That
which is scrap.
that can't happen.
Yeah, so, but they haven't accomplished anything as far as the 375-9 city ordinance amendment to zoning. They haven't done any of that.
Exactly.
We have no idea what their plans are.
I do not know. I have asked Marvin to investigate that, to make sure that they follow the
Do you
city ordinance.
attend these meetings for the redevelopment authority?
Yes.
Okay, and
They have no, they sold the land, it's done.
they just sold the land.
They just sold the land, they're done.
Okay. We're gonna let that one go. I'm gonna let that one go for right now. All right, they sold that property. They got $32,000 for it, correct?
Something like that, yes.
Okay, they sold the property down by the library and they got $8,000 for that, correct?
Right.
Okay. It's my understanding that we're mowing their property again.
Not
that
that I'm
true?
aware of.
Well, it was brought to my attention that we are mowing their property again.
They broke ground up there next to the library, so there's
No,
nothing.
no, we're mowing the RDA's, the redevelopment authority's lots.
Some of which, yes.
Are they paying us for that?
No?
Why?
Well, they're part of the city.
Well, yes, but they're a separate authority.
They're a
If
separate
they-
authority.
If they have money, we're short manpower.
I understand.
Are they gonna buy us a tractor? Or are we just
You
gonna beat
can
our
ask 'em.
equipment up?
We can ask them.
I think we should require them to.
Of course.
Well,
I mean, they've got this money now. They've got at least $40,000 in the bank.
the redevelopment authority will also become a very important tool that the city's going to be using as we move forward with this this process with this county as well.
That's wonderful, and that's wonderful. However, we are short manpower, we are short cash to take care of these properties. I think they should be paying their way for that. I'm sorry, they should be doing it.
Yeah, okay.
I do have some other questions, but I need to do a little bit more research into it. And I will get to that in the next
Councilman,
meeting or so.
I have a question.
Sure.
Who's telling the city crew to mow that property?
I
or
don't know.
properties? So are they just like showing up and saying grass needs cut, let's cut it? I mean, they have to take direction of knowing what they're doing every day.
Someone told them to do it. The mayor was aware that they were doing it, so someone had to have told Rodney to tell them. Lois, did you tell Rodney to mow the lots?
I know that they're not mowing all the lots. I know they're mowing some of it. Some of it they are and some of it they're not.
Well, I was curious because I saw an individual mowing the lots, and I stopped by and asked him what he was doing, and he had told me that was the 25th lot that he had mowed that day. You know, it's just, we don't have the time to get some of these catch basins repaired and fixed. We're short manpower, but we're going out and cutting these other lots, which we don't really have the time to do so. And they have the funds available now, where they could either reimburse the city or they could hire someone to do that. It just seems to me that it's not cost effective for us, and we're just not gonna get anything done.
I think we need to find out from what directive are they being asked to do these lots.
You weren't aware of this either?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
John, were you aware of this?
No, but I did notice that the other day there was someone cutting grass at the lot between Donner, 2nd Street and Schoonmaker the other day. They were cutting grass, you know, that big lot where, behind the Ravens there. So
And that's
Was that a city crew or was that one?
employee.
Okay.
I think the redevelopment authority should be, especially since they do have funding, they should be cutting their own lots. And our people in city crew, parks and city, should be taking care of city property, because there's a lot out there that they need to do.
Absolutely. I
That
don't
lot
know.
behind the Ravens, you know who cut that? Joe Greco's son cuts that. He's been cutting that.
And that's been done by the redevelopment authority.
That's fine, but I also have seen,
There's no city crew cuts none of them lots.
that's not true, Yucca. I've seen,
Not the one behind the Ravens.
well, I didn't say he cut that one. But we've
Well,
been mowing
we
their
can
lots.
address that. I will talk to him and see what to do. We'll figure that
I'll
out.
reach out to Rodney in the morning.
Yeah.
Lois will take care of it.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Rodney in the morning.
I'm just curious what Illuminasource plans are. And I've heard some very disquieting things, and I need to do a little bit more research on them. And if I find out there's any truth to this, I will bring it to the public's attention.
Well, it should be done properly, according to law, absolutely.
Well, they have to, because when
Right.
if they go in there and try to do anything without having it zoned for light industrial, and you have to have public meetings, hearings.
Yes.
And Marvin's aware of the restrictions there. I talked to him about that. Marvin did call me, and we went over the zoning ordinance. The new zoning ordinance has that either zoned as R1 residential or R3 residential.
All right, what's the difference? One,
R1's your single family homes, a little bit larger lots. R3,
Threes,
a little more
multifamily.
condensed. There could be multifamily in there.
Multifamilies.
Correct.
that's,
And if you look at those lots up there, it should have been zoned as R3 because they are
they're
smaller
huge.
lots.
There's some huge tracts of
Yeah.
property up there.
Yeah, but the original layout, they were more condensed in that
I don't
neighborhood.
understand the logic of selling it to Illuminasource for the redevelopment authority, unless Illuminasource is going to go into the townhouse.
Well, to be real honest with you, that all occurred because the city was trying to give that property away to somebody. He said, I will pay the taxes on it. When he did that, I actually talked to him and I said, you realize that that is zoned such that it's residential. It cannot be a place where you store your tailings or anything else. And I said, at that time, you know, if you wanted to push this through the new zoning ordinance, it would probably ball up the new zoning ordinance in the process. I said, if you didn't want to do it then, it was going to be more of a problem later. Well, he didn't do it during the zoning process. So I have to believe that he has no intention of doing that. But then again,
Well, he's up there moving dirt.
he's moving dirt, but you can move dirt on your own property.
I'm aware of that. I just,
You need to do one calls, you need to do it properly. You cannot tie a road in without a permit. There's lots of things that have to be done that we have ordinances to cover.
I'm a little disappointed in them that right from the get-go, they did do the PA1 call.
I don't disagree.
That makes me somewhat suspect of anyone.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, I've seen that happen in this town too many times to just let it slide.
Was PA One Call notified that they struck infrastructure and didn't report it?
I haven't called them and told them, no.
Somebody from the city should.
That would be you, John. But if you need pictures of the manhole cover that they knocked off, I have
I
that.
would like that, please. Thank you.
I will send it to you.
Thank you.
It just seems, the situation there just seems odd. You know, that was historically actually a black community at one time. And just to see a corporate entity purchase it was a little disturbing. I'm done for now.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'd like to open the floor for public comment and anything you'd like to talk about.
Hi, my name is Pete C.M. Flynn, 45 More Traver Drive, Monessen, PA, 15069 Street Park. First of all, I'd like to just start on something. I don't want you to get excited. On the meeting on August the 25th, we had a heated exchange between me and the mayor, as you recall, and they said that I cussed, which I don't think I did. There's a tape for it, you can read it, that's fine. But on August the 27th, the mayor sent me a big email to me and told me basically what the order of business was and why he never signed the contract. I didn't reply because I don't bother with him. I don't call him. You know, he calls me. I got him on tape a couple times. But anyway, on the 8th, well, I guess he was upset. That's the reason he sent me the email. But on the 8th, which would be the meeting last month, on the agenda, I think you guys got the agenda for that day, on September the 8th.
Yes.
And on that agenda, open the floor, number 5, and as you read it, the mayor will offer comments on development of policy, the potential official resolution of the city of Monessen relatively to the proper decorum, meaning cussing, okay, or language, something like that. But it bothers me is this. First, I think he violated my, my right as free to speech. But what bothered me is that before the meeting started, right on that corner, he calls the chief of police. I wish the cops are here now because I'll tell them the same thing. If the chief was here, I'd tell him the same thing. You're not a king. Before a meeting, you're gonna bring this up on the agenda on the 8th. But before the meeting, you made it a point to come to me and tell the chief that if I use any language that's not appropriate to throw me out. You're not my scholar. You're not a king. And I'm telling you now, I'm proceeding that case. Now, you know that works slow, but I get it done. And I think that the newspaper is giving him a free ride, which I totally don't agree with you guys. I don't know why, but they are giving him a free ride. So he was upset on the 25th. So on the 8th, basically, if you read the letter that he sent me, the email that he sent me, basically it was like get even time. Okay? Now I will tell you, if the chief was here, I'd tell him the same thing I'm gonna tell you. You're not a king, and he has right. Okay, we're in a right to work, we're not in a right to work state. We're in Pennsylvania. You will know that because you just came here. Okay, so you don't know the people, so you rely on the Three Stooges. I just heard Mr. McGregor tell you what's going on. And you know what's going on. It's wrong. Okay. So that's 2 items. Another item that I wanted to bring up, I don't want you to call me. First of all, I never asked to be on any committee. I made a clean point to you. I pointed to you that I didn't want any job. But I got you on tape, that you had a challenge for me. There's no challenge. The only challenge is you. Because you don't know nothing. You don't know Monessen, you don't know anything about this valley, so you rely on the Three Stooges. So all I can tell you, you got the Three Stooges, and you Mr. Pinocchio. So take it from there. Now, for you, I wanted to ask you a question. John, I think you're a pretty decent guy.
Oh, thank you.
Okay? You know, I think you deal with the police department, right?
Some parts. I mean, I actually follow those underneath the mayor. I do the reports.
Now, I hear all kind of stuff going on in Monessen, but nothing's happening. Other, these aluminum swords. Big deal, but it's a hush hush. But
Not
we'll get to it.
anymore.
But let me tell you something. Somebody need to call PennDOT and get that sign on Donner on Fifth moved to where it belongs. And the other thing I've been asking for,
Do you know what sign that you're referring to?
it's a stop sign.
Yeah, okay.
The stop sign is actually 15 feet before you see anything.
Okay.
And it already cost me $85 about 2 years ago. But I don't think that the city of Monessen tells me, well, we don't have nothing to do with it. Yeah, you have everything to do with it. You call PennDOT. Call their office and tell them what you need to have done. And they'll do it.
I have, and they did not,
Well, because you don't know nothing.
of course.
That's the bottom line. If you knew anything, you know how to get to it. Okay? So on the other part is, I've been
Could
more
I
trade.
ask
I've
you a
been saying
question,
this.
Pino? This stop sign, you said it's set back too far?
15 feet before you even see the roads.
So
You have to go through the stop sign
you have to go through the stop sign to see
so you
down
can
the road.
see. So if they want to pick you, if the cops want to get you, they get you every time. Oh, like she told me, well, you could take it to the magistrate. They'll drop it for you. No, I didn't do that. I just went and paid it. Okay? But I'm just telling you, for somebody else, that's the dumbest sign I've ever seen, and it's right in the middle of our city. Okay? The other part of it is, Montraver, that one-way sign needs to be changed to be a bigger sign. I've been saying that twice. Now remember, Mayor, I don't want no job with you in the city. I wanted the city to move forward in a positive way. But you and the Three Stooges, man, are bringing this town down. I mean, seriously. And don't play the game with Gregor that you don't know, but you do know. Because you don't know anybody in this town. Only the one that's telling you. The only thing you took from me, I was run twice. I got the first mayor, I voted for him, young man. And then I gave money to you to run for office, just as well. You took it. And I told you I did not want a job. And I did. And I'm not one to quit. Once I took it, believe me, I told you I'd be right on your case. Okay? So them are the two items right now that I think I like to address. Okay, and I think it falls under your jurisdiction, because he ain't gonna get it done, he gotta check with the Three Stooges to get it done.
Do you want me to call PennDOT for this
You can
stop?
try it again.
I can.
And I don't think the sign on Montreal would be too hard, they can probably just order a
Well,
bigger
it shouldn't
sign.
be too hard.
Yeah, cause we can just order a bigger sign.
My last question, you're talking about tearing buildings down and doing all this stuff, I've been hearing this for 8 months. You talked to the county, you had money coming in, you were in the last of the 2 counties that were gonna give money from the county to demolish some of it. No, I heard you say different. You can't wait on the county. But guess what? We can't wait on you either. So you either gotta get off and do what's right for the city, not what's right for 3 individuals and yourself. You know, that is totally wrong. The other part that I wanted to ask, who's in charge of flat tires, vehicles that are left alone in the middle of nowhere? Who writes them up? Who throws them away?
Code enforcement.
Got flat tire,
Police
no
department.
inspection
Police
stickers.
department.
Someone just has to report report them abandoned, cause we had to do that, and they gets reported, I think, to the police.
Yeah, but who does that?
And
The police department,
and
those
then
gentlemen
they-
drive
they
around,
I
they
fire-
asked the police, they were up my house yesterday because I called them.
Yeah.
And I asked both of them, they said they don't know who's.
In the past,
No,
PIDIS used to do it. They would get called, PIDIS used to take it, and then they were having a problem, or we had no space.
What's the process on it? He would call the police?
The police,
police-
the
police will tag
him,
it.
and then
They
Pidge picks
tag
them
him.
up.
Tell them away after
Pidge
that.
picks them
There-
up.
But who, do they call? Do they call?
I know, I
Either
called.
some distraught neighbor or someone.
No, no,
residents.
who calls the tow truck guy?
The police.
The police
The
call
police
them.
call, yeah.
Yes,
After
once
the
they
tag.
tag it after a certain,
Could I ask you a question?
Usually it's Officer Gray that handles the tagging.
I'm not here to answer any questions. That's something that's gonna have to be referred to my chief.
Yeah, also though, also Councilman Gregor, that actually goes with, Officer Gray's area. He usually is the one that will be in charge of like tagging and, notifying Pidge from
Well,
what I talked
I'll
about.
have to, is Chief gonna be in tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And I'm Dawn, I'm not certain.
But who does that? Who?
Citizens can initiate the process with the police. The police will then tag the property. Then they
So
will,
I noticed that from Montraver, you can only went to 2 blocks. From Montraver to Perenni Boulevard to 2 blocks when you make the left-hand turn into Rostraver, there's trees growing around, some of those cars. And you tell me you want Monessen to look good, just like you got this aluminum company going down there. You know what that means to Monessen, you guys, in case you want to know? It means that end of the wood is dead. That means that your property value is going down because they're gonna trash that when you can't build it one damn thing.
Well, there is something you can do, you can make sure that the zoning doesn't get changed.
right.
And if you don't let the zoning
Yeah,
get
but you
changed,
know what cracks me up, Don? He sat on the board. He knows what's going on. The 3 Stooges tell him what to do every time. And he's Mr. Pinocchio. So he had to quit lying to us and just be honest about it.
well, there's some things I'm looking into that may fall underneath what you're saying. And if it's true, I will inform the city residents.
And I do not want to be harassed by you calling me on my time at any, I don't call you, don't call me. I come to the meeting and tell you what I have to tell you. To your face, not behind your back.
Thank you.
Linda Lacy, 1624 Maple Avenue. I just want to make a comment on something that Mr. Gregor said. Alumasource was sold to a company in Australia in February 2021. So technically, Mr. Hudak doesn't own Alumasource no more. Now, he may be on the board for the next 5 years. That still doesn't matter, they don't own it. Now, I thought when I came up 9th Street that was the sewer line going through there. I didn't know that was Alumasource making a road through there. That wasn't in the paper. Just because the redevelopment has authority behind their name, they cannot do whatever they feel like they're doing, want to do. They have to answer to us. We're the public. We just can't let them, you got the sewage authority, they're obnoxious. You got the water in Charleroi, they're obnoxious. Now, Lumasource is just taking matters in their own hands because the redevelopment gave them the lead. Now, from what I understood, that Morgan Avenue, yes, is a historical street, and it shouldn't have been destroyed in the first place.
Right.
Now, that's something that my parents and my grandparents and everybody who knows about Morgan knows. At that time, back in the 50s and 60s, we didn't know that. But after through a lot of research, yeah, that is part of Schoonamaker, Donner, McKee, Motherwell. All those are historical streets. None of them was destroyed, but they had to displace every family, black and white, from Morgan Avenue. And that's when they were doing up at the park plan. Now, I'm old enough to remember all this, and I've heard stories. I don't know whether they're true or not, but the more I dig, the more I see the truth coming out.
All I can
Now,
really,
my thing is, Morgan Avenue was sold, and I thought that at one time, the property was supposed to be given to Latrina Brown, or Latrina Hall, because she had asked for that property, and it was told to her that she was gonna get it, part of it. Now, from what I understand, that it's not gonna be an industrial park. I will fight tooth and nail.
As will everybody else.
That is not gonna happen. It is not gonna become industrial park. And what is aluminum fluff? Because I have to research that. So what is Alumisource gonna do? Because we can't deal directly with Alumisource, we gotta deal with Sims in Australia. So,
the only thing that we can really do is hold them to what the law says. We have a zoning ordinance. The zoning ordinance is very specific what you can do with that piece of property and what you can't do with it. We can hold their feet
That's why
fired.
we're fighting so hard to change the zoning laws?
I've not seen them,
Because the
anybody.
last meeting I went to, that the redevelopment or the planning commission was trying to change the zoning laws.
And that is in the process, yes. We're updating the laws. But that does not change the ability for them to do what is being insinuated, for sure.
But isn't our sewage project coming through where they're digging? Yes, because it has to come from 9th Street, up under the park, and
I
down
think it's
to
actually
Dawn.
crossing the other side of the road.
They're rerouting it around the park.
Right.
Down 9th Street.
Yeah.
Okay, you're coming down 9th Street.
No, it's going to come, you know how, where the sinkhole was 3-4 years ago on Alaska Alley, that was 10th and Knox?
Oh, I remember that very well.
So it comes down to Knox, and then they're gonna reroute it, not through the park, because that pipe's 80 feet deep. They're gonna take it directly down 9th Street.
Well, do you know that probably about 10 or 15 years ago, that it collapsed and there was a big old sinkhole in the middle of 9th Street Park? See, my problem is nobody does
On the
any
side,
research.
on the side where the manhole is.
No, inside the park, when you walk in 9th Street Park, there was a big old sinkhole there. You could drive a car down in there.
How many years ago was that?
It's about 10 or 15 years
I
ago,
remember
'cause I
that,
wasn't
because
here
they
then.
did a lot of work filling that in.
Right.
That's the way the ballpark and everything's constructed now.
Yeah, so when that happened up on Mother Road where, and in Mr. Smith's yard, in Alaska Alley, I think that's the name of it.
Yep.
That manhole that's up on McMahon goes down there, up underneath the park.
Yep.
And down to 9th Street.
But they're
where
rerouting
the-
that.
Where the fence is.
Yeah.
Okay, now, a couple years ago, there was water gushing up there like a waterfall, like a geyser.
Yeah.
Because it would come up and it would go all the way down to Schoonamaker. So my question is, the sewer is going to go up higher or around that and not fix that?
No, that's gonna be addressed. They have a plan to reroute it down 9th Street. That's why 9th Street's gonna be closed for a period of time.
Right, but the issue is.
They're gonna abandon that old
from what
line.
I could see, and I'm not an engineer, but from what I know from the past, when you come down 9th Street where we go up at, right there where the fence is, there's an issue there.
Yeah.
There's a big old sinkhole there,
Right.
basically.
That old line that goes under the park's gonna be abandoned.
Is that gonna be
So-
grouted, Joe?
Which one?
The one that's being abandoned? Are they gonna grout that in, or is it?
I don't know what
It's gonna be
their
abandoned
plan.
how? Is it gonna
They just,
bury it?
well, when you abandon it, you're not gonna have any more liquids or solids or anything running through it. It's gonna get cut off.
But they'd still have to connect it to somewhere else.
They're
correct?
gonna put in a whole new line to
They're gonna-
bypass
yeah,
that.
they're gonna
They're
bypass it.
That's
Okay,
really
so-
a spaghetti network up there right now, and they're gonna simplify that network and bring it down 9th Street.
The only problem is if when you abandon something like that, and if you don't grout it, if you don't fill it in with something, sooner or later, it will collapse. It's just a matter of time.
Just like mines.
So, you know, if they're not grouting it, it'll collapse sometime in the future.
Well, I can't see if you're gonna do the work, do it properly.
Well, that would be up to the engineers.
Well, aren't we paying for this?
Yes.
Oh,
And
yes, we
we'll,
are.
we'll actually have the engineer back here next time where he can explain what's going on there
See,
too.
this is my problem, and I've done a lot of research since I moved back here. And I could go back to when Lincoln School was up on Highland. Monessen, the redevelopment authority, never, ever does anything to their historical buildings at all. You just sit there and let them deteriorate. Never lift a finger. Oh, you'll use them till you can't use them no more, and then they'll sit there, they'll turn to black, just like we're discussing, and then you tear it down. And there's one other question. When does the redevelopment have their meetings, and is it supposed to be advertised just like your meetings? I have yet to see one advertisement at all.
They ran one.
Same thing with the zoning.
Yeah.
The past practice has been that authorities, or any groups like that, advertised the first of the year. When the city advertised its meetings for the whole year, they also advertised at the same time. They only advertised once. Just like we only advertise.
Okay, there's a sheet running around here somewhere
Unless
with a
there's
whole
changes.
list of meetings on it?
Is it posted here anywhere?
No.
They should be posted.
They do 24 hours in
Well, I would
advance.
like
but
to
yeah.
No, but they should be
Yeah.
posted. The meetings for the whole year should be posted. So that if someone walks through the door there, they can just look at it.
I'll try to get all the boards and committees and authorities to let me know when their meetings are, and I'll put it on the website for everybody too.
Do we still have a vacancy on the zoning board?
Yes.
Are we ever going to fill that?
No.
And if not, why?
Well, we need to get after it. So what city administrator, we get him when he comes back, we'll get after him.
Well, who's in charge of the zoning board?
Who's on there?
I don't know.
You should also have a list online of everybody that's on each of these
And I
boards.
think there's one on the bulletin board in there too.
If it's there, that's good.
Up there on the bulletin board?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think they may have on our site, I think they may have names. of
Yeah, the
people
names are on the
board.
website.
That's on the site.
It's on the website.
Yeah, I don't know if
names
it's
are on boards.
updated though, that's the
Yeah, I know
problem.
it's on
Also,
that.
we don't
Like you
have
said.
any information on who's liaisons on each, boards and what time they meet up and where.
And just the zoning hearing board, the city has no input on the zoning hearing board. That's a separate entity as well.
Oh, wait, hold on one second.
You're talking
You
about the
mean to
planning
tell me
commission.
the zoning board is their own authority too? They don't have to come to you for anything?
Nope,
Well, how can that be?
that's what the law says.
Well, they don't have to come to the public either?
They have public meetings. The only time the zoning hearing board meets is if they don't have regular meetings. If somebody files a zoning application that requires a variance or some other form of relief from the city's zoning ordinance, that's when they meet.
Okay.
They don't meet regularly. They
Then they have to advertise.
they
it.
do have to advertise, yes.
They have their own solicitor and everything.
They do.
All right, Mr. Delphonse, I'm kinda confused. You
Mhm.
mean to tell me that the zoning board can make any decision it wants to?
That's correct.
Oh, I'm just through with that.
And that's not what the city's laws say, that's what the state law says.
Oh, that's just disgusting. Oh, and
Except the trash authority, we do away with that. They tell you about all the authority except our one, because they're lying on
well, I just don't understand how the zoning board.
They listen, the thing is, Linda, you have to have concerned citizens that go to these meetings when this occurs. And the people, I think there's like a 10-day or a 30-day comment period on some of this stuff when they go to change things. But the problem is the public's not made aware of it.
Exactly.
And some of that is intentional, some of it is unintentional. You know, it works both ways. I've seen it in the last administration, they didn't inform anyone, and it wasn't because they didn't want to inform anyone, no one did it.
All right, well, I'm gonna follow up, I'm gonna follow up with you, Mayor Moser.
That's fine.
When is the next redevelopment authority meeting?
Yes.
It's
Hey,
the
Linda,
third Tuesday of each month, I believe.
Third Tuesday of each month.
they are all listed on the city's website. I'm sitting here. The Monessen Zoning and Hearing Board's a 3-year term, 3 positions, 1 alternate. Explains what their duties are. Mark Shire is the chair. Mr. Manis is the vice chair, and Ms. Turner is the secretary.
Did you say Mr. Manis?
Yes, sir, I did. Bill Manis.
Does that have an expiration date?
There's an expiration date of last 2021.
Yeah.
Of when?
21.
So it's a
So
chair
there's-
that's vacant now.
there's
The
a
chair
vacant
that's
chair.
It's the, well, actually, yes, it's the one that's vacant. Mr. Shires comes up in December.
So Mr. Manis isn't,
According to this, it says that he would have been done in December 21.
well, then he's not on there.
Correct.
So that's 2,
No, it's one spot.
that's 2 seats?
There's only 3 people. One has expired.
There's one alternate.
Who's the alternate?
What doesn't list an alternate? Doesn't list an alternate person. Which, if you had an alternate person, I'm assuming they would take Mr. Manis's place.
Correct.
So there's
So there's 2 vacancies?
There's 2, 1 alternate and 1 permanent.
So that zoning board can't vote on anything unless,
Not right now.
Right now, I can't. We need to get that filled. We need to get Mike to get that filled.
yeah, we need to get that filled ASAP. We need to advertise for that. We have to do that at the next meeting. Hopefully Mike will be back.
Thank you, Mrs. Lacy.
My name is Diana Carestas. I live at 630 Alberts Drive. And the reason I came here tonight is I had some questions on the sewer project. We got my husband and I, Leonard, got a letter in the mail with a deed of an easement to sign. And we had some questions on the letter. We called the city administrator, not this week, but the previous week, but he didn't get back to us. Now I hear he's in the hospital, so feel bad about that. We're questioning a couple of things. The language, which is, the grantor gets a temporary easement, which the grantee may use in connection with the aforesaid sanitary sewage system on grantor's property. Grantee may use said easement purpose for any related to laying, constructing, operating, inspecting, maintaining, repairing, so on and so forth of the sewer pipe. Okay, is this just the 10-foot on each side of the sewer pipe? Is
Yeah.
that all it's referring to, this temporary easement?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
And ma'am, if that was my letter that I sent to, I'm
Right.
the solicitor.
Okay.
And here's my card. I'd be willing to sit down with you and your husband to go over the easement, any concerns that you may have.
Okay, well, we also have a concern about the language that says, the consideration, which is the dollar,
Mhm.
shall constitute payment in full for any damages to the land of the grantor, that's us,
Mhm.
and his or her successors and assigns by reason of the installation, operation, and maintenance of the structure. So we're responsible
No.
for the damages?
No.
Because that's what it says.
That's not what it says. If, just to go through what the sewage project is, there may be no physical work on your property.
There may.
Well, let me
Okay.
explain the premise behind it. And again, I'd be willing to sit down with you and your husband to go over all this, change any language that you feel is necessary. But the idea behind the sewage project is the city's going to try to line those and not dig anything up. Now, that's not to say that there might be some point repairs that are necessary. If that's the case, the city's going to be required, and it's in the contract specifications, to repair your property if they should have to go and
But it doesn't say that in the
we
easement.
can certainly add that language.
It says that we're
we-
responsible for
we
the
can-
damages, not you.
We could
And it also says unreasonable damage. There will be no unreasonable damage. But what's unreasonable? Who decides what's reasonable and what's unreasonable?
Ma'am.
What's reasonable to you may not be reasonable to him or reasonable to me. So we didn't like that at all. The other thing is, the easement itself is 10 foot on one side, 10 foot on the other side, which is a total of 20 feet, correct? Okay. It practically abuts two of our structures, both our shed, which is attached to our house, and our garage, which is a separate structure on our property. I mean, it comes right up against.
Yeah.
So we would want assurances in writing that if there's any damage, that the damage is on the city to repair.
Yep.
Forever. Because if what they do collapses something, you know, when you're putting an easement on my property like that, it's gonna devalue my property because you can't do anything with that land with that easement there. And I know that for a fact.
That's not the type of easement that this is.
Well, you can't do anything on that.
You
that-
do realize
my whole
that
backyard.
that sewage line exists today, right?
I do know that
Okay.
suicide exists. That's why I don't have a pool.
Yeah, that's,
I wanted a pool for 15 years. I don't have a pool.
that would be
Okay.
problematic.
But with the easement language there,
Mhm.
that's more than just knowing there's a pipe there.
And
That if I go to sell my property, that easement is gonna be on record on my property. So it devalues my property.
and we'll work
And my
to.
property's already being devalued every day by the blight that is ongoing in my neighborhood, that gets worse every day when the person that live here abandons their property, and then the person on the other side of me abandons their property, and the people across the street abandon their property, and then the other people that move in, they don't take care of their property, so now there's,
Ma'am,
all kind of crap.
ma'am,
So,
I-
we were talking to some of the other, property owners in the area, and the one did go to see an attorney
that's
already.
fine.
And that's probably what we're gonna be doing.
I would love to talk with anybody because I'm telling you that the city will make your concerns and we'll address that.
Well, it just seemed to me that it should have been on the easement letter. I mean, we're not trying to be difficult, we're not difficult
Neither is
people.
the city.
Most the people here on this board know my husband and I. We're not difficult people.
Ma'am.
But we were kind of taken aback by the language here. The other thing I have a question is this SIP method that's being used? Because I
Correct.
did a little research on this myself. Has it been used in Monessen yet?
No,
It has not.
no.
So we're the guinea pigs in the area for the SIP method. It hasn't been used in Monessen,
It
right?
has not been used in
And
Monessen.
our area is gonna be the first that they're gonna use it.
I don't know by what definition or how broad of an area. It's a relatively new technology, yes.
Okay. How much notification are we gonna be given? Does this SIP method, cured in place piping,
Mhm.
does it produce fumes? My house is tapped directly into the main sewer line. That's how it's been forever.
Okay.
Since the sewer line was there. Am I gonna get fumes coming back into my house when they do this? Because they have to cure this stuff, and from what I understand, there's a considerable amount of styrene in this lining stuff that they use, which could cause,
That's gonna be a question for the city engineer.
yes.
And,
And before we sign any of this, we wanna know those questions.
and
So is there gonna be a public meeting on this sewer project to let people know what's going on? I mean, I agree, sewers need to be maintained, and the sewers are old, and I'm sure they need help. Got no question from me on that. But this is a relatively new technology, from what I understand.
and it's being vetted by
I also
the
understand
USDA.
that it's only guaranteed for 1 year, according to what was in the paper. That doesn't seem very long.
They won't guarantee it any longer, period.
Right. So.
That's a standard across. the
And that would be even with new pipe too, correct?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
1 year period.
But I believe there's a
But
warranty.
you know, they don't make anything like they used to make. I mean, I bought a brand new refrigerator, I had it a month, and it broke down. The refrigerator that it replaced was like 42 years old.
Yeah.
So they don't make things like they used to, right? So, we just have a lot of questions, but we will be contacting an attorney.
That's
We
fine.
don't wanna go the eminent domain route if we don't
Neither
have
does-
to.
neither does the city.
I'm sure the city doesn't
No.
because it's costly,
Mhm.
and we don't wanna cost the city more money than it needs to.
Yeah.
But we are not happy with the language,
Yep.
and we,
Here's what I will guarantee you. You can get an attorney, you can bring him down here, the city engineer, myself, any members of council that wanna be here, we'll sit down and discuss the language and any issues that you have or questions that you have. I figured your property was gonna be a little bit more difficult because
it's the whole property. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's the whole
and that's,
back.
so if I apologize if my letter came off in a certain way, that wasn't the intent. Everybody here would be willing to sit down with you and your husband, attorney, you wanna hire engineers, that's fine, bring whoever you
Well,
want.
I really don't wanna go through that expense.
Right.
Right?
No, I understand your concerns and, yeah, we'll work through those.
Because, I mean, you look at this thing, it is right on top of
Mhm.
our shed, and which is, like I said, the shed's attached to the sun porch is attached to the
Mhm.
house, and everything was built with permits. So we don't have any unpermitted, structures on our property. My mother-in-law and father-in-law, who built the house and everything, they were sticklers by doing everything, by the book. So I know that everything was permitted, but that's a lot of property you're taking, so.
And you'll be able to use that property as well.
Yeah, we can mow the grass on it like we do now.
I mean, you wouldn't be able to build anything on it
Still
today.
can't have a swimming pool.
Yeah, yeah, there's
But-
probably a few other things that you wouldn't be able to build on that area right now.
Yeah, well, we probably wouldn't build anything anyway.
Yeah.
But it just, the whole damages thing is what got me.
Okay.
It's like, we're responsible for the damages?
No, that's
No.
not the intent of that language at all.
Well, that's the way the language
Yeah.
comes off, so,
Yeah.
we'll call you.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, we got one big question here. Source bought that property, or whatever company bought that property. What is the tax revenue that's gonna be generated for the city? Does anybody know? Or did they get a carte blanche? They got property, but no taxes to it. This is what's been going on for years here. All these companies, Coke plant got reduced from 192,000 down to 10,000. You got the old city county the old city hall building was, when this Virginia-based Indian guy, he bought it. They went to the courthouse. They used everybody's lawyers, the city, the school board. He got it down to $10,000 when it should have been 192,000. Okay, so all these companies are making deals with somebody, if not directly with council, it's under your organizations that you're supposed to manage. You elect people to be on the redevelopment, on the sewage and this and that, then you guys got no control. I don't understand that. If we're living in a representative government, okay, you people are supposed to have some sort of management that, first of all, does justice to the citizens who are paying the bills. And I don't see this. And I like to see a list, like he's talking about all these homes are going to come down. We've got all these problems with the sewers and this and that, the boat launch. How much money we got to cover all this? Like, can you put up a chart that shows all these devastating conditions we have? How much is that? $2-3 million, and then on the other side shows where's the money coming from. You guys don't have it. So you got to create a priority. You can't be saying we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do that, and then there's no money attached to it. Or is it at the end we're going to hit the little people again, raise their property tax, while all these big kingfishers here on the riverbank, they get their property values lower, so they pay less taxes. And this is what's been going on, not with this council, with the past 4 councils, 4 administrations. They've been doing this.
So Ernie, let me ask you a question. To put this in some perspective, let's take it piece by piece. okay? Blight. You say, put it up on there, show it, here's how much blight's gonna cost to knock it all down. If I'm gathering what you're saying, am I
Yeah.
correct? I'm gonna go step by step, so I'm not misspeaking. So on the right-hand side, we have, let's just shoot a number out and say, you take all the blight, it's $5 million.
Yes.
Okay. You're also saying, now show me on the left where you're coming up with the $5 million.
That's right.
Okay, so let's take it step by step, and if I'm wrong, I know somebody will jump in on me, and that's perfectly fine. $5 million for blight, roughly. $5 million to take care of that blight, or a portion of that blight, is what the county has said they're going to do from ARP money.
What portion? How much?
They're
100%.
guaranteeing a portion of their money
Yeah.
to here. Now, I'm gonna be very frank. It could be 5, it could be 6,
Or it could be 2.
it could be $1.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't honestly control that. But that's what they have pledged and what they have publicly said they're going to do. Am I correct, Mayor?
That's correct.
Okay, so we're gonna use that one on face value only. Do you agree?
Yeah. go
We
ahead.
can only take, if we only get $100,000 for God reason out of that blight money, okay, then you have a job to do come next election for someone that's in Westmoreland running for county commissioner then, would be my guess. Because they said one thing, but they're doing another.
Yeah, but you should have a list.
Okay,
a
hold on.
priority list. That when the money's short, you're only gonna do this.
But we don't.
You're trying to tackle the whole field.
Well, we don't have a total price. The county's still coming up with that. The county is moving things in that direction. So, yes, as the mayor said before, and I'm not defending anybody, even myself, we're handcuffed on that. We're at the wheel of what Westmoreland County Commissioners and what the land bank and everything else is going to do. Are we in agreement roughly there?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's one. 2, your second one is the sewage project. It's costing $10 to $15 million on paper. You've seen it. We've had hearings, okay? On the left-hand side, there's USDA and Penvest loans. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so the money they are controlling, the federal government are controlling what gets paid, by what gets done, on how it gets done, and how it's approved that it's done correctly. Again, not saying anything of us, but the city has nothing to do with it. We are pretty told strictly, this is how it's gonna happen, this goes through these many channels. I don't sign off on a check, believe it or not, until Penvest and everybody else and the engineers have signed off to make sure that it is correct before I can even sign off and pay anybody. So are you with me so far?
Yeah, so far.
2. Now, I forgot, I'm in a train of thought, I forgot the third one you were talking about, your concern.
How much property tax we're gonna collect from that purchase?
I don't know what the sale of it was, nor do I know what it would cost for,
It's 32,000 sold for.
Yeah, so
but
there's,
what's the property?
and how big, do they do it by, they do it by area? don't
it's
they?
on the website. You'd have to add it all up. I'd have to have a calculator to add it all up, but you can see what each one of the parcels is and what the tax revenue is. It's there on the web.
Yeah, my point is this, these big companies are taking advantage of a poor city, okay? They get their property and school tax reduced. Why? And then the residents gotta pay more. And nobody's even bringing any comments in, so what are these companies doing? Did they added employment to the Monessen unemployed? No. What are they doing? In fact, 80% of their employees come from out of the area.
So what do you propose?
So the problem is, you guys got to have more of a grip on what you're delegating. Okay, you're talking about the redevelopment, the other authorities. You people got to have, because you're the top of the chart. You're supposed to be the top dog. Everything flows from your authority. But you don't elect people and then they do whatever they want. Otherwise, we're going to hit a brick wall. We're going to hit a brick wall, and then everyone's going to pay for it with Act 47. That's what I'm afraid of.
Just have one question. I think I heard you say what they say publicly for what they're gonna be paying. You talking about the aluminum company? What they're gonna give us?
No,
City?
I said I didn't know what their assessed value was of that property, no.
Whatever they say, that you gotta take it on their word.
No, the
wouldn't
county
think
does,
so.
the county
The
tax
county does
assessor
that.
defines
The
that.
county assesses that, and what the county puts a value on it, I'm guessing, and I'm gonna ask our solicitor this, is if they say it's X, Y, Z, and they think it's A, B, and C, they could appeal it, which means they could win, or they could lose.
Right, it's assessed as basically vacant lots right now.
Now, I'm sure that that assessment is based upon, I would hope, something that they want to do to it, do with the property. You know, I wouldn't think you could buy it and say you're gonna do one thing, and then you do totally something totally out, you know, something else completely, as long as you're within the zoning permits. But,
There's building permits that really require, that really rule that.
yeah, I mean, yeah, the county's gonna take care of that.
Okay, can I say something before you close for 1 minute? Is there a way we can stop Sims Illumisaurs from doing what they're doing till they get the proper paperwork?
It depends on what they're doing. If, they need to do what they're doing properly and according to law, absolutely.
But didn't they mess up that manhole?
They did, they broke,
Or who's gonna pay for that?
they would have to, they have to. Absolutely, they have to.
Okay. I'm following up on that one too.
That's fine.
And someone needs to call in and let someone know that what they did without a PA1 call.
Yeah.
There are
You-
penalties for that.
Well, isn't that what Marvin went up there for? Or what did Marvin go up there for?
I was the one that informed Mike that they did not have a PA1 call.
Okay. But no, Mayor said that
Mike,
Marvin went up there.
Marvin went up there to see what they were doing.
Right.
Did he
I actually
report
went
back
up
to
there, I
you
have a bunch of
what they were
pictures.
doing?
Yeah, he told me
I'll
that,
send them to you.
Yeah, thank you.
they had to get permits. He told them they have to have permits to do whatever it was they were doing, to connect to the road.
But he never said what he was doing.
It's a contractor up there. It's not it's not Aluminum Source.
Why don't somebody call Mr. Hudak and ask them?
That's what Marvin did.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Do, please do.
Mayor, motion to adjourn tonight's meeting on September 22nd, 2022 at 8:02 PM.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned.